Meanwhile, Nancy Green, I'm delighted to welcome you to the roundtable. Thank you for your time, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, David. And that was a provocative observation set that you made getting us into this. As you said, I am the Chief Global Learning and Strategy Officer for ASIS International. And the way I wanted to frame my remarks was around kind of three areas. First, a little bit about ASIS International, who we are by the numbers. So you'll have to tolerate a few data points. Second, I think I wanted to speak to the two global objectives that we have as an organization that are particularly relevant to this topic around professionalization. And then finally, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how we advance these objectives across the profession of security. So in my role at ASIS International, my background is not security. I don't come out of the security profession, but rather I have framed my whole career around working with volunteers and professionals to advance a mission of an organization. And with that said, what I oversee at ASIS International are all the content functions. So Security Management Magazine, all of the publishing operations of the organization, as well as the standards and guidelines function, the certifications of which we have 4, and then finally the learning that we offer our members across the globe, including Global Security Exchange, which is our annual big conference and trade show that happens every fall. So I wanted to just set the stage a little bit, level set by telling you a little bit about who ASIS is, because we're growing and changing all the time. We were an organization founded, believe it or not, in 1955. I do believe that we are the leading organization advancing security worldwide. We have 34,000 global members. And I think there's an interesting observation here about your points, David, as it relates to academic programs for security professionals. Probably about 60% of our members come out of military and law enforcement originally, and then they've made second or third careers in the security profession. So it's a little bit of a different pathway than you were describing. We have 252 chapters representing 87 countries, and also 35 what we call communities of practice, which is something we offer our members, the ability to problem solve together in specialized topic areas in an online format. So there's a whole lot of organic problem solving that goes on as part of the organization and what our members do. What we really do is partner with our member community to deliver content across all of the channels. So I think that's a little bit about what sets us apart as an organization. We are by our members, by security professionals globally, for security professionals globally. So that's part of my expertise, and I think the skill set of my teams is that we know how to work with subject matter experts to develop the content. So they play to their strengths and we play to ours as the support team that advances those efforts and those products and services. So that's kind of ASIS in a nutshell, and I'm happy to answer other questions as we go along. You know, and as I was thinking about this topic, you know, it's very near and dear to my heart, which is why I was able to say yes, you know, just a week ago and be able to speak to this, I think, very passionately and enthusiastically. Our board of directors in 2020 created a strategic framework for the organization for a 5-year pathway. And 2 of the objectives that they identified are so directly relevant to this topic today. One of them is putting a stake in the ground around the idea that security should be recognized as a profession. You know, so that's not to say it wasn't what we were doing all along, but I think we're now more purposefully approaching this by really cultivating standards and guidelines, certification as research, as those underpinnings for what really defines a profession, if you will. And then the second piece, which I think is especially interesting, you know, based on our casual conversations earlier, we're really working to position the security risk function as an essential contributor to organizational success. And this is where I see so much change, you know, with the pandemic and the advancement of the role of security within the organization, and really looking at it as a strategic contributor to the overall success. And I do think that is an evolution, and I hope we can talk about that a little bit more as we go along. So just my third area then is, how do we advance these two big objectives that I just talked about? Just wanted to give you 3 specifics in that regard, and we can certainly go deeper. So of course, the first one is through professional recognition. We have made a very important commitment, I think, as an organization through many years to offer certifications. They are accredited. What they really do for our professionals, and I think as a profession, is they validate expertise. What do security professionals need to know in order to be successful? They elevate the stature of individuals within their organizations when you have one of the ASIS certifications. And I think they give our professionals a competitive edge when they want to market themselves into a new sector, a new job market. So we do have 4 certifications. I'm not going to dive deep into those, but we have the Associate Protection Professional, which is for the early career security professional. It is our newest one because, David, to your point, we're trying to create these pathways into the profession that are less about an offhanded, gee, I fell into a security, a private security role, but rather I'm making a commitment to this career path. We also have the PCI, which is more specialized, the Professional Certified Investigator, the PSP, the Physical Security Professional, which is that more technical physical security recognition. And then finally, kind of our crown jewel, which is the Certified Protection Professional. I think that's the one that we're most known for. Those certifications are represented in 90 countries. And one of the interesting pieces this year that we were able to accomplish in the pandemic is what we call remote proctoring. So prior to this, we'd had exam sites in about 450 countries where you had to go and sit for the exam. But this year, our team was able to create this process where you're able to sit for the exam at your desk, at your convenience with a remote proctor. So, in this pandemic, we had to figure out ways to be responsive, right? Like all of us here have in our own ways. And that has really helped to improve access. So that professional recognition is that first way that we have really tried to elevate the profession. The second way I would suggest is by standardizing best practices and security principles. So we are accredited by both ISO and ANSI, the national and international standard setting organizations. We do set up technical committees that work to approve the very best practices and security principles, everything from physical security to physical asset protection to security awareness. So we do have a body of standards and guidelines. And one of the more recent ones that goes to this issue of elevating the profession is that we have a guideline around enterprise security risk management. And I think we've begun as an organization of leaders to respond to this issue of elevating the profession, creating guidelines for helping professionals and organizations do that. And then finally, this third way I think that we've really tried to contribute to this profession worldwide is by convening our members. So we have so many different avenues for our members to collectively build content on behalf of the profession, exchange information with one another, and mentor each other. And I think convening members is just a basic fundamental of any professional membership society. But I think, again, in the pandemic, we've been able to convene members in so many different forums digitally that we wouldn't have otherwise been able to do. Like so many organizations, last September, we had to put our whole conference online, our GSX that usually attracts 20,000 live attendees. We were able to do all that online thanks to the help of our security professionals and subject matter experts. But I do think because we convene those members, we have our ear to the ground a lot about what the needs are, what's going on in the profession. And that's just another fundamental of the framework that we have put forth to really organize around professionalism. So that's kind of my shot across the bow, if you will, the framework, a little bit about ASIS, and also about the stakes in the ground we've put around a strategy that supports and enables professionalism. So I look forward to the discussion.
That's better. Thank you, Nancy. And that's both a strategic overview and a slight detailed insight. I really liked your point. There's a difference between doing something professionally and being a professional. I don't doubt that we do things professionally and we are committed to that. That does not mean we are a professional. I'm sure that's a question that we're going to come to. Also, of course, the point that whatever else COVID has done, it's disrupted every understanding we have of business management. And any organization that's going into 2021 to 2025 thinking they're going to do business in the same way as 2019 to 2020 hasn't got the memo, as they say. So I'm looking forward to, I'm sure that's true for us as everybody else.